About set to get things underway as we get ready for the command to fire the engines. Folks, joining us here on the podium at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway, the account manager for Goodyear and Cooper Tires, along with his daughter Paulina, is Mike Markoff.
On behalf of Cooper Tires,
drivers, start your engines!
And there you have it, folks. Engines coming to life on pit lane. It's going to be a good one. As we said before, the young driver, 14 years of age, Nikita Johnson starting on the pole. Jacob Douglas will be on outside of him. A good start for Jacob, looking for his first win in the series. Then we'll have Elliott Cox and Simon Sykes on row number 2. Row 3, Max Garcia and Matt Clark. A lot of wins, a lot of talent in there. Michael, this is going to be a tremendous way to start off 5 races for the USF Pro Championship.
It's going to be interesting to see how this plays out with the morning qualifier. As you said in the rain, that we have some of the drivers up front, some that are really good, kind of in the middle, and you've got some hard chargers in the back. The big thing we always talk about, USF 2000 drivers, let's not throw it away in lap 1. This is a long race. All the parents, you said, collectively holding their breath. It's going to be a fun start.
They will. And joining us in the booth here today, a driver who knows all about these kind of starts and the chaos that can happen. One of the top drivers from USF 2000 last year has made his move up to USF Pro 2000 from Scottsdale, Arizona. Jace Denmark from Pabst Racing joining us. Jace, you know what it's like. I don't want to go back to Portland last year and all the craziness that happened to cap off the season, but a start here at Indianapolis is super tough. You really have to be aware of everything around you.
Right, it's a very wide berth going into turn 1, so you can pick about 5 lanes to choose from. So it's going to be really important to keep your nose clean getting through this race.
What about braking? When you're going into a corner like that, how much earlier are you kind of getting off it to let the car roll through the corner so you can kind of pick where you need to be?
It's more about closing the distance getting into the braking zone and be able to manage it from there so that you're not getting hit from behind, really.
That's true. And that's the other thing. Yeah, if you're off it too early, oftentimes, Michael, we'll see the brake smoke, right? Someone's going to lock it up down the bottom. We'll hold our breath as well.
Well, my question to Jake real quick before we go green is, you got 5 lines down there. Which one do you prefer?
The inside is always very preferable because good luck to whoever's on the outside.
That's true. Outside sometimes over-unders, though. We've seen that happen before. But as he said, when you're on the inside, obviously, if you can get around that corner, you're in much better shape. Drivers will work their way around just that single reconnaissance lap to try to build some heat into these brand new sticker Cooper tires, getting things underway. Some drivers potentially on news, some potentially on the tires they had in qualifying, only a limited number of sets through the triple header. And again, working their way through, again, this track, which is much different than it was, Michael, when they were first out there earlier today. It was very wet, so now getting a feel for it. Not only that, throw in the fact that IndyCar's been out there as well. So the rubber different than it was yesterday. IndyCar with a full session down. Indy next with a full session down. There's a lot of different grip levels out there.
Tim, we talked about the weather. Even Colton Herter, or Pato O'Ward, I should say, had mentioned it was still wet at the beginning of the IndyCar practice session. So it never really quite got dry. So for these drivers, this is the first time they will truly see a dry track, completely different, as you just said, from what we saw this morning. Field getting set to head out of turn number 14 for the start of this race.
And for the first time for a lot of these drivers, the first time that they will take a green flag at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. Obviously a fantastic and iconic racetrack. And again, 20 young racers midway through this USF Pro Championships ladder system lining up on the inside of row number 2. Elliott Cox, the local boy, the number 67 for Sarah Fisher Hartman Racing Development. Drivers all set. Nikita Johnson bringing them up, and we are green, green, green. The race down into turn number 1. Johnson staying way low to the inside of the racetrack. Wait till we get the run here. And again, here they come. 3, 4, 5 wide down to the braking zone. As Jason said, keeping the car to the inside of the racetrack and look at to the outside. That is Cox trying to go the outside at turn number 1.
Great move by Elliott Cox and into turn number 1. They took him 3 wide. Douglas fell back to that 3rd position, and we have chaos at the exit, or I should say the entrance of turn number 1.
That is the number 10 of George Garciarsis and the number 90 of Jacob Douglas. The outside front row starter gets together with the driver who started 7th. Heartbreak for both of those racers, and we'll bring something else into contention here as well when we get an opportunity. But we are underway. The rest of the field working its way down into turn number 7 for the first time, and maybe a bid for the lead. Side-by-side drivers rolling through there. Someone pitching down aggressively. Nikita Johnson, Simon Sykes likely up in that fight as well. But indeed, through the opening 7, 8, 9 complex with trouble for the driver starting 2nd and 7th. Tough one for both Douglas and Garciarsis.
Yeah, Lucas Mann involved with this as well as we get set to see the replay. Field making their way through the south end of the course. Let's watch what happens in turn number 1. Oh, Douglas just cut
Douglas tried to do the over-under
yeah.
that I talked about and got up over top of the curbing there. Then more contact there. A couple drivers locking it in. Somebody else lost another wing through there.
Well, everybody's coming in, trying to find a way through, and Douglas is sitting in the middle of the turn.
Full course yellow being thrown on the track for obviously debris in turn number 1. A potential another driver off over. I think the number 92 involved as well. That was Lucas Mann. He, we believe, is stranded over on the exit of the 5-6 chicane complex. Let's get that replay racked up again if we possibly can, because then we'll bring in Jace Denmark here, again, our driver who in USF Pro 2000, multi-time race winner last year in USF 2000. Jace, did you get a chance to look at it? We'll have it again here, but it just looked like the over-under kind of went wrong for Jacob, and he just got up and over the curbing on the inside of the corner.
Right. My initial thoughts are that as we're seeing it replay right here, so he just got
You think he
high
got
side
hit?
over the turn.
Did he get hit?
Yeah, I think when he tried to do the over-under, there was someone on his inside, and he got clipped, and he just went over the curb and caused a little chaos right there.
So indeed, that's the start we were looking for in USF 2000, but I can't say that we didn't expect it to happen. We know that it can get pretty chaotic into turn number 1. Drivers always getting super aggressive. We did shake things up in qualifying like we had said. Jacob looking to try to take full advantage. An over-under will work like that, especially with Elliott Cox was trying to go to the outside of Johnson, so they're both going to go wide into the corner. Douglas was hoping to come out at turn number 2 with the lead. Did not happen, but for him, if the car is not overly damaged, at least he's going to get a full course yellow to potentially fight his way from the back.
Yeah, to Jace's point, I really think Douglas was trying to do that over-under, and when he went to make the move, he got tagged because the angle that he went in, he clipped that curbing on the inside. So contact more the issue with Douglas than a missed opportunity.
When they come back around here, folks, we'll kind of give you a re-rack. And again, one of the drivers is off on the outside. That's the number 6. He was involved as well. That's Evagoras Papasavas, which is tough because Papasavas coming in 3rd place in the points. And you saw a couple drivers got also kind of brought into that with more contact, drivers trying to take advantage and maybe evasive maneuvers with the track blocked to the inside. Biggest movers right now, Lockie Hughes, a great run for him. Started in 11th. The driver who is runner-up right now in the points championship battle up to P4. And Zach Ping as well, started in P15. He takes advantage of the chaos. He goes into the 10th position. So both Lockie Hughes and Zach Ping, Michael, getting the best of this. And that's, listen, when chaos like that happens, you're not in it and you make the right move, you really can make up a lot of positions.
It's one of those situations where you get these opportunities, as you said, to be able to get through that first corner. But the problem that we always talk about is cautions sometimes breed cautions, and these guys will be a little more dicey, but we won't be too wide coming into turn 1 this time. But making those moves through the field early in this race, your opportunities, you'll have several of them throughout the morning or throughout this race. You just pick your positions, and if you can get 2 on a restart, maybe get 3 on the restart, you can find yourself in the top 10 quickly, especially if you started in the back of the field.
Chase Gardner, I believe, getting into pit lane to make an adjustment or whatever happened to him, because he did have something happen. Here comes the 97 of Ping. He's coming into pit lane as well. I don't really see anything wrong with the car at this point.
Looks like a crooked rear wing.
Oh, yeah, there it is, yeah. Bent the rear wing on the machine. You can see it tilting to the left, so Ping's going to come in. They'll go to work on that, the VRD crew. Same went for the number 95 of Chase Gardner. He's able to go in and back out, so it did not lose a lap, so luckily for him. But here is your lineup. Nikita Johnson with the lead. Simon Sykes goes 4th to 2nd, so huge for Simon Sykes, your point leader. Elliott Cox holds on to 3rd. He was trying the outside of Johnson through turn 1. Lockie Hughes, we talked about him starting 11th. He goes up to P4. Max Garcia, who started 5th, holds station in P5. Matt Clark the same in 6th. Max Taylor in the number 33 machine started all the way back in 16th. He finds himself 7th. So he was really able to work his way through the chaos. Max Taylor, he's one of the drivers in our USF Juniors program. Avery Towns holding on to 8th right now. Al Morey, another driver. Remember, he started back at 18th. He goes up to 9th, so split the difference for Al Morey. Ethan Ho rounding out the top 10. Ping in 11th, but he'll now drop down the order. He's in pit lane. That'll move Sam Corey to 11th. Danny Dzelski to 12th. Maxwell Jamison up to 13th. Gordon Scully to 15th. 16th will be Douglas, so he is still out there. Watch for Jacob Douglas coming from deep in the field. Garcia is coming up as well. Papasavas and Gardner. Gardner getting his lap back, so he's still on the lead lap, trying to catch up to the tail of the field. Papasavas and Mann, the 2 drivers that are not going to get out of this one unscathed.
Yeah, Lucas Mann still working the AMR IndyCar safety team down there, trying to tow that car out of, basically is the exit of turn number 6, where the tires are right there. That's where the car came to rest. I would imagine he drove that car through all the chaos, and that's all the further he could get it.
Again, drivers getting back out onto the racetrack. Johnson able to hold back the initial start. Let's go to Jay Stenmark again, who joins us here in the PA booth here at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. Here's the one thing about this racetrack, which is so different than any other track. Restarts are tough when you're the front guy because it's such a far run from the green flag all the way down to turn number 1. He could get drafted and potentially draft back by. It's that much of a run from the green back down to turn 1.
Right, you really got to pick your lane, get down to the bottom as soon as you can, and kind of just play your cards once you get into the braking zone. Say they get past you before you hit your brakes, you go right to the outside of them, maybe roll the outside, maybe over under. Who knows?
There's so many opportunities here about that. It's a very unique part of this racetrack, Mike.
I will say this. I was very impressed with Nikita Johnson's run down into turn number 1. I thought Elliott Cox did a great job to get through there. And then Simon Sykes kept himself out of the trouble that eventually happened with Douglas. It was a bad start for a lot of guys, but for the front 3, especially Elliott Cox, I thought he handled himself very well, especially going out into turn number 1 on that outside line, trying to make his way in.
And remember, Michael, that's his first ever start at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway.
That's why I'm impressed.
Sometimes I think it holds a lot more gravity for the drivers who grow up in Indianapolis, spend a lot of time here. Maybe you've watched every 500 with their parents or whatever it may be, right? It's your home race, and I think a lot of the times you think that a young driver may get amped up, may get fired up, maybe try to fire it in there, and he did a good job. Went to the outside, knowing for sure that Nikita was going to block the bottom. I'll run to the outside. If all goes well and I keep him pinched down, he's going to have to get on the brakes earlier. Maybe I could ride the outside. Nonetheless, he comes out with P3. I think he'd be pretty happy with that, holding your position after what was a pretty chaotic start.
Certainly was. And for Jacob Douglas, what could have been and what we assumed was potential contact that sent him flying into the entrance of turn number 1 and sat in the center of the track, collected a bunch of cars. So certainly not the start we wanted for the entire field, but as we get set to go back to restart, as we see the man machine, Lucas Mann's car that was sitting there has now been removed. Slowly but surely, we will get this thing back to green and we'll go racing again.
18 drivers remain on the lead lap. Papasavas and Mann, the 2 drivers, as I said, did not get through that unscathed. Otherwise, Nikita Johnson now will have to defend on the restart from Simon Sykes, Elliott Cox, Lockie Hughes, and Max Garcia. And a lot of the times, most of the tracks will run on, you'd never say when someone would have to really defend on the restart. Whether you're running at a Mid-Ohio or at a Barber, you're going to get that start, you're going to jump out, and no one's going to pass you in 1. This place is so unique with that big, long run back down into turn number 1. As Jason said, that Nikita's going to have to go down to the wall. He's going to have to low line it into the corner. Everybody else is going to be way wide, looking for the potential over/under. Watch for more excitement in turn 2 and 3 in this particular start, as opposed to what we did when we were 2x2.
Well, you look at Simon Sykes as he'll chase Johnson down the front straightaway. Cox, Lockie Hughes, Max Garcia, they'll start to feather out. It could again get chaotic, and as you said, sometimes being the leader isn't always optimal down here at the front straightaway of Indianapolis.
And here's what's going to happen, right? They're all going to fan out, and there's going to be somebody that stays on the inside, and they're going to use the draft off of Johnson. So whether it's a Matt Clark or a Garcia who maybe don't move out, they could potentially get the run down the inside. That is what makes things so exciting. It's such a long straightaway, and it starts here at a turn number 13. That's when you start rolling on the throttle, and they're going to be doing that right now. They're lining things up. Johnson going to kind of crawl them up through turn 14. Well done. He punches off, and away we go. Green flag flying to the yard of bricks once again, and Nikita Johnson will low line it down on the wall. Not surprising, right to the bottom of the racetrack. Sykes has some room back to Cox, who did not get a fantastic start. Lockie Hughes on him as well, so watch for a couple of battles. Cox staying to the bottom. Sykes looking to try to make his move as well. Side by side coming through turn number 1.
Wow, Lockie Hughes had a great run down that front straightaway. He and Elliott Cox nearly touched as they made their way through that right-hander of turn number 1. But Cox, a big winner, as he makes a move to the inside.
Cox looking to the inside at turn number 4, but you just can't make a pass there. A driver on the outside just have to roll the outside. They're definitely going to get themselves into the 5-6 combination first, but here's that next run. You got to get through the right-left to come all the way back down to the straightaway here. Look how low he is to the bottom. He'll come back out. You're allowed that one move. You can't move back out and back in. If you come to the outside of the racetrack and low line it all the way down, you're allowed to move back out to set up for the corner.
Nice move by Lockie Hughes down into turn number 7. He'll pass Elliott Cox into that 3rd position.
Lockie Hughes, of course, a driver we expect to be challenging for the championship. Already a race winner in this season. Cox looks like he's gone back to the 5th position. I believe Matt Clark able to get by as well. We'll re-rack them when they come across the start-finish to let you know what the top 10 looks like, because there's a lot of action mid-pack. One of the drivers who I think took it a little easier on the opening was Chase Gardner. He's got the speed. He was top 10, Michael, all day yesterday, but didn't have a good qualifier, had an issue with the gearbox. Got aggressive at the start, but then got caught up in the mess. This time he said, you know what? No. He stayed where he was, let the initial craziness happen, and now he's going to work as he's trying to close up now on the 97 of Gordon Scully.
Been very impressed with Lockie Hughes thus far as we have a battle for the lead into turn number 1. A lockup with 3 cars in the front, nearly tangle. Lockie Hughes is there.
That might be Simon Sykes through to take over the lead to the inside, or either that or Johnson was low lining. They'll work their way through. Look at Hughes to the inside as well. Lockie is very aggressive to the inside of turn number 3. Got it done in turn number 4, but there's a driver. That's Lockie. He's missed the corner. He missed a corner coming through that left-right combination, which is turn number 5, 6, Michael, and that very likely could be a penalty, maybe even a drive-through, unless he gives the spot back. I guarantee you Race Control will be on the radio with him right now.
It was interesting. Oh, we have huge contact going down into turn number 7.
That is Max Garcia, who had contact and up and around and into the tires, and we will definitely go full course. We'll definitely have a look at this, folks, but that was coming down into turn number 7. It looked to be like potential contact from behind sent him around, and that is Max Garcia in the Pabst Racing Advanced Auto Parts machine off, and thankfully those tires right where they need to be, and he center punched them. Car going sideways, sliding in. And again, you're watching him quickly getting out of the car. That is awesome to see. Anytime you have contact like that, you want to see the driver get out quickly, and indeed he has. Here is the replay. He's down to the bottom of the track. I think he's probably getting. Oh, he actually he climbed over the back.
Yep.
And who does that he climbed over? Hard to pick up who that may have been.
Well, they won't have a rear wing, so we'll be able to tell as they come down the front straightaway.
Very true. So indeed, got too deep into the braking zone and climbed over the back of that driver who we expect may be coming down pit lane. 2 drivers coming. That was Max Taylor, I think he may have went over. The 67 of Cox coming into pit lane as well. He's lost a rear wing. So both Cox in the number 67 and Max Taylor in the 33, all without rear wings. I believe it was the rear wing of Taylor that he climbed over, that darker VRD racing machine. So, man, we got some young drivers who are aggressive here at Indianapolis right now, and that can happen as well. Jace, let's talk about that because you understand what's happening here. When you're going into a braking zone like that, well, here's the replay for you again. Let's see what happens. I think Cox is going to get cleared out when he comes over top of him.
Yep.
So there's the jump over. Braking zone trouble, and Cox gets a little sideways. Oh, and you wonder why we have the halo on these race cars right now.
Thank goodness.
Goodness me. That left front of Garcia came right down, essentially right onto the halo of Elliot Cox's car. Wow.
You could tell the impact. You could see Elliot's head shake. Had that halo not been there, that would have been a just horrible outcome. And the fact that we have the halos on these cars, a lot of people don't, initially when they were introduced said, they're a bad look, but it's about keeping these drivers safe. And case in point right there. How
many years did we run? The USF 2000 has been around since the early 90s, right? And so, decades we've run without that halo. Of course, it kind of got brought in. Formula One went for it. We have the halo as well. IndyCar with, of course, the awesome aero screen. We've seen that save a lot of drivers as well. This was obviously one where Elliot Cox, although losing the rear wing, man, that could have been worse had it not been for the halo on the car. But let's come back to Jace. We saw that there. A lot of times, Jace, when you're coming into a braking zone like that, guys are aggressive. You got 2 drivers brand new to the series. First year for Max Garcia, first year for Max Taylor is running USF Juniors. That can happen sometimes, can it? When you just got guys with different braking areas.
Right. I think this boils down to an experience issue, really, and it's their first time going into turn 7 stacked up like that, and the amount of efficiency that you lose when you're right behind someone on braking, that little bit of draft really surprises you, and I think it boils down to experience right there. And another point, really glad that Ethan Ho was also not collected in that, because he did a great job at avoiding, a flying car going right past him on the inside.
Indeed. And listen, a little bit as well, you think about this, also that was on the inside line. Garcia was down the bottom, a lot less grip on the inside of the racetrack than out in the racing line.
Yeah, especially with the rain this morning, it's a little green down there, so I wouldn't expect there to be any grip.
So there you go. A lot of factors in that one, Michael.
Oh, but you talked about coming down for the first time and being tucked in like that. Is it a matter of a breaking point or getting kind of sucked in because you have a draft?
Sorry, I just want to stop here real quick
wow.
because let's look at this. They're literally looking at the helmet right now. There's Max Taylor, and that's Elliot Cox. He's looking at his helmet where the car came over top. We'll go back to your point, but literally
saw his head move.
He was looking at the helmet saying, I think I've got some rubber on the helmet.
It was there,
wow.
but thank goodness that halo was there because that could have been a lot worse. But, Jace, back to what we were talking about. When you're drafting down Holman Boulevard, you do get a run, and obviously break points could be different for each driver, but as you get sucked up and you start to break, does it want to suck you in even more if you're the trailing driver?
Correct, and there's that point of closing where your reaction time is just not good enough to be able to avoid something where you're on the draft and you're right on their gearbox and they start to break. There's just not enough reaction time for you to do anything about it. So you either pick a different line as soon as before you hit the brakes, or you break earlier.
Yeah, that's it. You have to give yourself room. But, yeah, there's a really good close-up. I don't see much rubber on there. It didn't take out the GoPro on top of the roll bar either. So you got to think it might have been just on the edge of the halo.
I know Elliot was thinking, man, something got me.
Yeah.
But, yeah, thank goodness for that halo. That is just fantastic that they're on these cars, keeping these drivers safe. A very scary incident and potential harm avoided because of that halo.
And listen, this is why we have these series. This is driver development. Right? This is the young drivers learning. We've had a chance to watch Jace, of course, come through USF 2000. He's been able to get that experience and then challenge for a championship and won races last year. Now he's moved to the Pro 2000 category and is in the same place right now. Everything he learned last year, putting it to good use here and being able to potentially run for wins with Pabst Racing. They're having a big year in USF Pro. So Jace is going to use what he learned to potentially win this year as well.
So for the fans who have been with us all day, Jace, that was an interesting session that you guys had as far as qualifying go, whether you went on slicks, whether you went on wets. That track was very odd. Walk us through your qualification session.
Right, it was a bit rough for us. We didn't particularly have the car that was suitable for the track. It was drying conditions, so we took the gamble and went out first thing on slick tires. So slicks and the wet,
talk about
very
hanging
crazy.
on, because we saw finally the slicks came in with about 2 minutes ago, those last handful of laps. But just hanging on, the inclination would be, hey, guys, can we throw some wets on? Because it's kind of damp out here.
Right. You see people just fly by you on these wet tires, and you're wondering, if it's going to pay off. And as soon as you see the sun come out and the track's starting to grab up a little bit, then, yeah, you knew that the dry tire was going to be the one to be on.
That's amazing, though, to watch. And we were talking for quite some time. We watched you. We were watching Miles Rowe. It's like, these guys maybe they're just riding around a little bit. We didn't ever really realize how wet the track was until the guys that were quick on the wet tires were still laying down those quick laps that you guys were still struggling trying to find speed.
What's interesting, Jason, we'll come back to you again. I'm sure you guys sat down in the engineering room. What do we do? What are the thoughts? Everybody's thinking different ideas, right? Sometimes you roll the dice and you're exactly perfect. Sometimes you come up just a little bit short. This time for you guys, sadly, you guys came up a little bit short.
Yeah, it's a rare occasion that we come up short, but this time we'll go for the Hard Charger Award in the race.
I like it. Always have something to shoot for sure. We are going to have a little bit of downtime. You can see they're working pretty aggressively here to get those tires back into position, being told potentially about 3 or 4 more minutes to get the tires back to where they need to be. Of course, the track has to be in perfect safety condition before we get underway. There's the car there of Elliot Cox, not with that black halo, not able to see maybe where the tire made contact. But as he said, when he was talking to Max Taylor, they were looking potentially at that helmet. Yeah, he's actually, there it is there. I like it. There's a good look there for Elliott. He's giving us a look at it, so literally came right across. Man, that was wild. Watch for Elliott. They'll get that thing fixed up. He's got 2 more opportunities, Michael, to get at it. We'll have another look here at the replay of what happened. We're getting a little look at Elliott kind of giving us the feel. So Elliot Cox, the driver, coming to the outside. Behind him, Ethan Ho. There is then again Max Taylor. He gets climbed over. And look at Ethan Ho lock it up and turn as well. That was a fantastic job by Ethan. And, of course, he's got the wing climbing over top of him as well. Wow. Evasive maneuvers from all of those drivers, and there's really nothing at all that Elliot Cox could have done. That team will get that car back together. One of the key components, though, is here's the thing. Qualifying in the rain this morning set the grid for race number 1. Race number 2 is set by the second fastest lap this morning, which of course will not be as fast as the fastest lap in this race. The other opportunity is your fastest lap in race 1 can set the grid for race number 2 if indeed you need it. Everybody's going to do that, so really the fastest laps we have in this particular race is going to set the grid. So tough one for Elliot Cox and the drivers involved in this. Lucas Mann, Papasavas, Garcia, Taylor, all not very likely not getting a really good low fuel lightweight lap at the end of the at the end of the run, so they're likely going to start at the tail of the field for race number 2 as well, adding insult to injury.
And you start thinking about what we're going to have left just in this race. We have 7 to go as we stand right now, and they're still cleaning things up, trying to get those tires. They're not going to set the field green until they're comfortable with where those tires are. So if it takes another lap or so, so be it. They want those tires to be in position at the turn 7 turn right there. So we'll take another lap right here. Obviously, we're not going to go green just quite yet. So they'll have 6 to go. So again, it's scramble, and if we, God forbid, get another caution, we won't really even get a couple of clean laps in this race.
15 laps or 40 minutes. We have a lot of time still in the window. I'm kind of surprised we potentially haven't maybe gone red to kind of hold it to get more race laps, but right now we're still circulating. They'll come back around once again. So again, looking to see what happens. Drivers that did make some moves from that restart. Al Morey moved from 9th up to 6th. As we'll give you the rundown here right now. Johnson is the leader, Nikita Johnson. Simon Sykes running in 2nd, Lockie Hughes in 3rd, Matt Clark 4th, and Sam Corey up into the 5th spot. 6th is Avery Towns, 7th Danny Dzelski, 8th Al Morey, 9th Jacob Douglas. He has got his way back up to 9th, and Gardner, who started 20th and then 18th, now finds himself in the 10th position. Folks, the Skip Barber Racing School is the official racing school of the USF Pro Championships, and they're inviting drivers to compete for over $500,000 in prizes, including a $100,000 scholarship to the series champion to enter USF Juniors. And of course, USF Juniors, the first rung of the USF Pro Championships presented by Cooper Tires. The 8-weekend 16-race series will take place at the most iconic tracks in America with high visibility and a pro race atmosphere. The Skip Barber Formula car features a 160 horsepower turbo engine, paddle shift 6-speed transmission, and Goodyear Eagle Racing slick tires. You'll have a professional crew, expert instruction, video and data analysis, hospitality, and more. Sign up today at skipbarber.com. A couple of guys that we kind of know a little bit running the Skip Barber Formula Race Series this year. Sebastian Weldon, of course, the son of Dan Weldon, and as well, Townsend Bell's son, Jackson Bell, already a race winner in this series. So a couple of guys I think we're going to see move to USF Juniors in 2024.
It's exciting to see not only Townsend's son, but to see Dan's boys actually be successful in this game. You watch them growing, and both Oliver and Sebastian, how much they've gotten better, how they've become more confident. Because talk about pressure, anytime those kids go anywhere, people know who they are. So there's a little bit of added, I don't want to say insecurity, but maybe expectation put on. Pressure that people put on you just because of how great their father was. They expect that immediately out of the kids. And I remember them struggling a little bit as they started, but to see the maturation, they are the real deal.
They have become 2 of the top young karters in the sport right now, running in the junior categories. And again, we've seen Sebastian make the move up into the cars. We'll see Oliver Weldon make that move as well sooner or later. So all those drivers kind of lining things up. Speaking of lining things up, they'll work their way out of turn 13. We're going to put lap 10 in the books. It's going to be a 5-lap shootout here. Johnson, Sykes, Hughes, Clark, and Corey, the current top 5. Away we go. They'll work their way out of the final corner, and Johnson once again having to defend as they come through. Green flag flying right down to the bottom of the racetrack again. Simon Sykes will look to see if he can't make that move. And we think about this, Johnson coming in 4th place in points, a win at St. Petersburg. Would love to get one here as well. Big wide berth to the outside comes Matt Clark. He'll tuck back down the inside, and one driver's gone off. And that's, I think, potentially a bent front wing. That might be Simon Sykes.
Oh, is it Sykes?
I think that might have been Simon Sykes. We'll
see if
they work their way back through. Lockie Hughes has worked his way to the lead. Hughes goes back into the lead. It is the number 22, Simon Sykes out front. He's been able to take the lead. That, I think you're right.
Nikita Johnson.
Nikita Johnson.
Looks
off
like
the
he just
track.
outbraked himself a little bit into turn 1.
How easy is it to do that, Jace?
You have no reference. No one's in front of you, right? So it is very easy to go straight.
Tough one for him. Nikita Johnson off through the escape route. He will be able to come back on track. We'll see how much damage that has done.
And Lockie Hughes with a big move will go to the lead.
He's done that before, right? That's where he made the move to third. Lockie Hughes, the Jay Howard driver development pilot, has worked his way into P1. Lockie out of Australia, and he has done extremely well. Just 3 points behind Simon Sykes here to start the season with 4 races down. The championship up front, very tight, and Lockie Hughes has gone back to P1.
It's going to be interesting to see where Nikita Johnson, who used the runoff, where he files back in. His race not quite over yet. He is probably, I would imagine, be about that 10th position or so. We'll see how quickly he filed back in. Still has some time to get things done.
We'll reset it here when they come back across start-finish. Simon Sykes trying to go back on Lockie Hughes, who goes out to the outside of the racetrack. Hughes went out and kind of came back in a little bit, way down to the bottom of the racetrack. Look at this. Sykes is going to try to keep him pinched down. Sykes on the outside into the braking zone. There's the lockup. Watch the over-under coming out of Simon Sykes. I think he may have got the job done coming through the corner. More action further back as everybody's diced it out, and it's actually Matt Clark to the lead. Matt Clark has taken over the lead as Hughes and Sykes scrapping it out. A beautiful over-under by the USF Junior champion from last year, the Canadian Matt Clark for D-Force Racing to P1.
What a fantastic move, and they're still battling between Sykes and Hughes. They make their way down into turn number 7. Field starts to spread 4, 5 wide into turn 7.
And the driver taking full advantage of that was Matt Clark, able to run a wide line, the full racing line through 7, 8, and 9. He'll have about 4 or 5, maybe 6 car lengths as they work their way now out of turn number 8, 9, and over to turn number 10. So Clark taking full advantage of the action there as they'll again come through turn number 11 now. What a restart here, a couple of laps to get things underway. They'll put lap 12 in the books. Michael will have 3 laps remaining of a 15-lap contest when they come back around here. A number of drivers trying to scrap from deep in the field, but what a run it's been for Matt Clark.
Nikita Johnson, just to let you know, fell back into the 7th position. I would not doubt he's already battled himself further closer to the front of this pack as they make their way out of turn number 14. Fantastic restart. Matt Clark, your leader, as they make their way down into turn number 1.
Clark goes to P1. Into second is Sykes. Third is Corey. Sam Corey taking advantage as well. He goes to third. Lockie Hughes 4th. Dzelski 5th. Nikita Johnson 6th. Avery Towns in 7th. Al Morey in 8th. Jacob Douglas 9th. And Gardner 10th. So both Gardner and Douglas coming from deep in the field after the initial incidents into the top 10 right now, but it's Matt Clark who has capitalized. It looked like a great pass there for Simon Sykes as he pinched down, kept him pinched down, overshot it, was able to get to the inside on Lockie Hughes, but I think probably a full over-under likely coming from Matt Clark to take the lead before they came to turn number 3.
And how about Danny Dzelski? Started 14th, running P5 right now, so a great move for him, taking advantage of when he could, the chaos up in front of him. Dzelski to P5.
Great run for Danny Dzelski, young driver, came into the series last year, now running with VRD Racing, doing a bunch of radical racing as well to get more seat time. It's been winning there. Coming back over here, a top 5 finish for Danny would be so huge for his confidence moving forward. Again, remember the confidence rolls through the entire weekend, Michael. This is the first race of 3. They'll run 2 races tomorrow as well before Indy Next hits to the racetrack. So for these drivers here, getting out of the gate strongly is key.
Nikita Johnson all over the rear wing of Danny Dzelski, though. Field makes her way through turn number 14. There you see it on your video boards. That's Nikita Johnson trying to get around Danny Dzelski. Will he get a good run down the front straightaway? Here comes the field down into turn number 1.
Biggest battle a bit further back. Nikita Johnson making a move to the inside of his teammate Danny Dzelski. So watch Johnson trying to go now into P5. He'll come down the bottom. I think he probably gets it done before they get to the braking zone. And Dzelski's going to try to go back down. There's a lot of good racing here. That's just outside the top 4. And again, folks, get a chance to meet all of these drivers. The autograph session in the Midway beginning at 1:30 today. So make sure you come out and get a chance to meet our USF 2000 and USF Pro 2000 drivers.
Lockie Hughes was watching him, and when Nikita Johnson was diving into turn number 1, Johnson almost rear-ended Lockie Hughes. I mean, he was flying on into turn number 1. Nikita Johnson's day is not finished yet, although he's got a lot of ground to make up.
White flag will fly next time by. The lead last time was a half a second for Matt Clark over Simon Sykes. Simon putting his head down. You can see how much he's closed up already. He's got it down to about 2 to 3 car lengths. Chase, that would be enough. That's where the gap is now to get that run down into 1.
Sure is, and being able to have a run into 1 will just maybe get that little extra into their head to maybe blow it.
That's it. Again, it's all about pressuring, right? When they come out onto that straightaway, Clark's going to be looking in the mirror. He'll low line it down to the bottom. Simon Sykes looking to capitalize, but young Matt Clark trying to see if he can't get a win here at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. It would be his first win here in USF 2000. A number of them last year at USF Juniors en route to the championship. But this is the run here, Michael, as they come onto the straightaway. White flag flying. Can he hold back Simon Sykes? What kind of a draft? He's going to stay way wide. Good run here, but it's a long way down still to turn number 1 for Matt Clark. We'll see if Sykes throws it to the bottom of the racetrack. Here they come. Sykes going to go to the outside. Clark to the inside. They're going to go side by side through the corner. Contact. Those drivers come together. Sam Corey's going to come through. Both Clark and Sykes through the grass. Sam Corey takes the lead.
You could see that setting up at about the 300-foot mark. They were going in side by side. Neither wanted to break. They both forced themselves into the grass.
Simon Sykes and Matt Clark together. They go through the grass. They're going to drop outside the top 5. The new leader now, Sam Corey in the number 14. Corey, your leader, as they're working their way through the S's here, down into turn number 7. Corey is the leader. Here they come again. There's the contact we had back in there in 5 and 6. They'll come through 7, 8, and 9 now. Corey, the number 14 for VRD Racing. He was a winner last year in USF Juniors as well. Can he get his first USF 2000 win? The race nobody wanted to win. And they'll work their way out of turn number 10 to 11 now. Corey, who started all the way back in 12th and moved to 5th on one of the restarts. He finds himself as the leader. Lockie Hughes back up into 2nd. This is a crazy race thus far, but Sam Corey looks like he's in a good position. The young driver from Cornelius, North Carolina. Last year a winner in USF Juniors. More contact back there coming through turn 13 and 14. The fight for 2nd.
That's Nikita Johnson, I believe, and Lockie Hughes. Here they come.
As they come across the line, the winner in round number 1 of a triple header here at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway is Sam Corey. Corey winning his first USF 2000 race, the Discount Tire Grand Prix of Indianapolis. Corey the winner. Hughes back to 2nd. Johnson in 3rd. Dzelski holds on to 4th. Matt Clark in 5th. Sykes all the way back to 15th.
Wow.
There must have been the damage to Sykes as he and Clark battled out at the apex of turn number 1. Chase Gardner started 20th. What did I say? He'd be the hard charger. 20th to 6th for Chase Gardner. George Garciarce goes to 7th. Al Morey, the local driver at Indianapolis, huge for him for 8th, top 10. Jacob Douglas, who started off pole, went all the way to the tail of the field. He ends up 9th, and Ethan Ho holding on for 10th position.
Well, congratulations to Sam Corey. He certainly deserved that. But watching the replay, that's Lockie Hughes and Nikita Johnson nearly side by side. That was maybe a nose. 300ths
of a second at the line.
Can't even blink my eye that quickly. What a great battle for Nikita Johnson to come back after falling back into that 7th position to finish this in 3rd was quite a finish for him.
Let's see if we can see that replay again. You and I were talking. Let's look back. The replay there, I believe, was Simon Sykes off the racetrack. So you wonder whether or not potentially he and Clark got together again over where that camera was, because that was Sykes going off the racetrack for sure. Jace Denmark, last year you were the guy we were talking about in this USF 2000 race. You weren't in that one this year. Were you happy maybe you weren't in the middle of that chaos?
That was quite a chaotic race. I would have been happy to be in Corey's position for sure, to watch it all unfold and take advantage. But yeah, crazy race.
For the fans that are here, you don't get the joy of being in the public address booth, but watching Jace throughout that entire race, hands go in the air anytime anybody got close. There was the replay of the 2 leaders going through the grass. Literally, Jace about jumped out of his seat, not quite knowing what he was seeing. It was like we were watching an action film right in front of us. It was great spending time with you. A great job today.
Thank you for having me. It's always a pleasure.
So Jace, Chase Gardner, 20th to 6th, hard charger. You're starting 13th in the race this afternoon in USF Pro 2000. What are you going to do? Where you end up?
I mean, I can't give away all my secrets.
All right. I appreciate that.
Love it.
I appreciate that.
Love it.
So here's the replay, folks, of what happened. You can see Matt Clark, looks like they kind of hook wheels coming off there. Clark was trying to get in there. Simon Sykes was on the outside. They hook wheels, and they come through. You see the rest of the top 3 and 4 rolling through there. Man, tough one for them. Tough one for Matt Clark as he's getting the win. But the guy that got the gift, a very strong run overall for Sam Corey, the young driver in the number 14, getting a win here at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway.
And remember, he started 12th. So for him to come from 12th to win this race, that says a lot about his day, and a great drive for him to hang on and to hold off those hard chargers. Of course, Nikita Johnson was coming back. Lockie Hughes was coming back. Took advantage of the mistakes at the end. That was a great win.
Let's see the emotion there. These guys, of course, folks, anytime they can win in this program is key. That's his dad, John, coming in there as well. But to win at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway is going to be huge for this young driver. He is pumped for sure. There's Dan Mitchell, team owner, coming in. Man, big one for Sam Corey. Sam coming into this this weekend sitting 9th in points. His best finish was a 5th at the opening round at St. Petersburg. Yep, Dad John pretty happy there. To get the victory here, we talked about this all the time, and I'm sure Jace would echo it. Confidence and momentum, man. You win your first race. And I told this to Sam last year. He wasn't sure when he was going to win his first USF Juniors race. I said, when you win one, you'll win another. And he did that. It could happen again this year.
Wins breed wins. It's that confidence, like you say. You don't know you can do it till you do it. Yep. And then once you do it, you understand how it gets done, and you make that happen.
Did you feel that way last year, Jace?
Correct. Right after Road America, there was a turning point in mentality where you know that you have the ability to go win, and you just rinse and repeat.
That's it. I like that. Rinse and repeat. We'll use that one again. Jace, thank you so much for joining us, man. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
That is Jace Denmark, who will be driving for Pabst Racing in the USF Pro 2000 race, a doubleheader for them this year. Again, a tremendous young driver from Scottsdale, Arizona. Great to have him here. Michael, of course, I'm going to head out here because we got some Victory Lane celebrations to do. This will be the guy right here. Sam Corey is going to join me up there. He's P1.
Oh, it's a pleasure, my friend. That is Rob Howden. He is the voice of the USF 2000, the USF Pro 2000 series. We will do some celebrating victory podium. Coming up next, Nikita Johnson, Lockie Hughes, and Corey, your winner. And Georgia Henneberry has caught up with a very happy Sam Corey.
Now a winner at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. Was that race a testament of it's not over until it's over? And now you have to take it all in. You're a winner now at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway.
Oh, 100%. It's so special to be here and be able to be in Indy. I have no words right now. It's absolutely amazing. You never know what's going to happen until the checkered flag. So I just want to thank all the Verity boys for doing this and having the best race cars out here.
Sam Corey is now victorious. He's going to join Rob Howden up in Victory Circle.
Mike McAfee. Thank you, Mike. What a battle that was in USF 2000. These are the young drivers looking to work their way to the NTT IndyCar Series. So many drivers in NTT IndyCar action here today. Started in this USF 2000 program. Driver coming home in second spot was in the middle of the battle throughout the race. Fell backwards, got himself forward again. Ends up finishing in second. P2 for J. Howard Driver Development, Lockie Hughes. And to present him with his second place trophy, Mike Markoff, again, one of our guests from Discount Tire. Actually, an account manager for Cooper and Goodyear. Mike helped give us the command earlier. A number of winners on the season so far. It's always fun to watch these drivers kind of work their way through the ranks. This pilot who scored the win here today stayed out of trouble, got himself into position, and then took advantage of it when it came. He was a winner last year in USF Juniors. Now on the resume, he is a winner in USF 2000 from VRD Racing. A round of applause for the winner today, Sam Corey. Sam, stay with me down here first. And we talked about this last year when you got that first win in juniors that more would come. You knew eventually one would come here in USF 2000 as well, but that race was wild. From your vantage point, what was happening out there?
Man, it really was. Started midfield, and you were right. Once the first one comes, the rest just follow along. But no, it was really good. Just try to keep my nose clean as much as I could with the safety cars. And then once I kept going and just making positions and moves, it was just a battle at the front. So as I said, it's a dogfight here. So just gracious, thanks to God and my family for being here, and all the VRD boys for putting on such a really good race car.
Was there any smile at all when you saw those two guys getting together in front of you? You were potentially looking at a third place finish. All of a sudden, you come out of turn 2 as the leader.
Yeah, I was just smiling ear to ear. So just being like, okay, I just got to hit my marks for this last lap, and we got to win. So everything worked out in favor.
There's a spot up here for you. At the Indianapolis Motor Speedway, he is a winner, folks. Sam Corey, the victor today in USF 2000. Paulina Markoff will bring him out his P1 trophy. And again, for these young drivers, we talk about the number one, the prestige of being able to race here at this iconic facility, but to actually stand on top of the podium and grab one of those trophies that you'll have in your case for the rest of your life. A huge win here for Sam Corey in the right place at the right time, but that's what it takes in a chaotic event like this. Sometimes you got to make sure you're doing the right things, you're staying out of trouble, and he did that as well. Pole sitter Nikita Johnson, a strong run. He went backwards and was able to work his way up into third. Remember, he had to take the escape route at one point, but fought his way back to a P3 finish. And Lockie Hughes, who came into the race as the second place man in points, very likely moving to P1 as Simon Sykes, after that contact with Matt Clark on the final lap, finds himself all the way back in 15th position. So a change for sure in the overall championship, but 2 more races for these USF 2000 drivers still up on the schedule for tomorrow morning. They'll kick things off early at 8 o'clock, another race after that as well. So again, just a treat to have our USF Pro Championship drivers here. This program, of course, brought to you by Cooper Tires. If those of you may be new, it's formerly known as the Road to Indy. It's now the USF Pro Championships, USF Juniors, USF 2000, and USF Pro 2000. And our focus, of course, developing drivers first for Indy next, and then, of course, the NTT IndyCar Series.
Our thanks to Rob Howden. Congratulations. Sam Corey, your winner of this USF 2000 race number 1. I'm Michael Young along with Greg Straw. Greg, our day is done. Alan Bestwick, Dave Calabro, step in next. Have a wonderful day and looking forward to the rest of the weekend.